All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, and welcome back to another flight with Captain Nabs here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And this morning we are changing it up quite substantially from what I normally do, as you could probably see in front of you. Normally, I like to fly airliners, provide kind of that insight, that real-world insight, if you will, into what it's kind of like to operate at an airline with a specific goal in mind, getting paid to operate from place to place. Today, we're going to do something quite a bit different, and it's just mostly for fun, really, at the end of the day. So, as part of my latest little adventure here, which is my cross-country tour of Canada, we are going to take a flight in this Citation CJ4. So not an airliner today. I know it's a little bit shocking for everybody out there because it's not something that I normally do, but yeah, it is. I just thought I'd do it a little bit for fun, and it is something that I would like to kind of show off to people who watch this channel, because I think there is some validity to it, some usefulness to it here. It is a what am I trying to say here? So this is the working title CJ4 here today. And we're parked in Montreal today. We're going to go from Montreal to Ottawa and then onwards to Toronto. So 2 flights, pretty short flights though. So it's yeah, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to take the Citation out for a little spin here. And if I can just find my stream there again, and there I am. Morning, everybody. Morning, Squibbly. It's nice to see you again on the stream there. And I don't believe I have the G3000 mod. I'm pretty sure I don't. I'll have to check my community folder here, but I believe I believe I did find the G1000 mod, and I downloaded that, but I didn't download the G3000 mod. I didn't even know there was one out there. So no, I don't believe I have the G3000 mod. I have the G1000 mod, which just updates it a little bit, makes it a little bit more interactive. And I have to say, actually, that G1000 mod is pretty nice, because it makes the flight planning section of the G1000 work a lot more effectively. So I like to fly the TBM a lot, especially for FS economy. Just a fun airplane to fly around in. But the G1000 was a little bit frustrating. It was not the best. Just not the most complete model. It was only the most basic flight planning functionality. It was very hard to sort of do more. So the G1000 mod really improves the flight planning functionality. You can insert more fixes, change the delete fixes. You can go direct to any fix in your flight plan. In terms of resolving when it draws approaches and everything, when you add an approach, resolving the flight planning order, it works a lot more reliably than the default Asobo version. So yeah, yeah, I did like that G1000. But no, today we have the working title CJ4 here. So if I can I was just pulling this up here. So for anyone who has not seen this, working title is it's a name of a development group here, and this is what they've done is they've basically taken the default CJ4 that comes with Microsoft Flight Simulator, so everyone has it in their sim, and they've improved upon it a fair bit. So they've made the FMS a lot more, again, realistic, usable. You can actually change stuff in it. It's not just showing you the flight plan legs, but you can actually interact with it in a very realistic way. They've vastly improved things like the fuel burn. The fuel burn in the default model CJ4 was just ridiculously out to lunch. It was the fuel burn did not have, it seemed to have any basis in reality. And when you're flying, and I was flying that one with FS economy as well. When you're flying FS economy, the fuel burns have to be somewhat realistic, because you pay for the fuel in the FS economy world. So if the fuel burn is too high or too low, it sort of skews the whole world. So I definitely downloaded this, and I've enjoyed flying that in FS economy. But I thought I'd just show you guys, because this is a freeware mod. Anyone can go and download it, and it definitely makes this airplane a pleasure to operate. Much more realistic. It's not done by any means. These guys are guys and girls, I don't even know, are working on it. They're adding more things, so they're up to version 12.12.12. So you can see there's a huge long history of mods, of changes, of all sorts of stuff that's been slowly tweaked and updated. The FMS is the big thing, but also lots of other things. Systems work a little more realistically. I think the engine starts are more realistic, so a lot of stuff sort of coming down to creating a more realistic experience than the default airplane allows. And again, totally free, so you can go to this website, just put it in your community folder. It will take over your CJ4 and put these upgrades into it. And there's all sorts of nice little features, and we'll talk about them as we kind of go through this flight. But the Citation's not a fast airplane. It's not bad, but it's not the fastest airplane in the world. So it's good that we kind of have some shorter flights today. So yeah, it is overall a very nice model. And look at this. I've just been sitting out here on the cold here for about 15 minutes now, and look, it got all frosty in the time we were sitting out here in the cold. You can see frost detail on the nose. You can see frost detail on the wings. Really kind of neat stuff that the simulator can do. And as I mentioned, we are sitting here in Montreal. I'm sitting at the General Aviation ramp in Montreal, Starlink Aviation, which is also now part of the Signature Flight Support brand. Way, 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 way far away from probably wherever you are, Squibbly, because I'm sure you're probably in the A320 again. And you are probably way down at the other end. Sorry, I'm not doing this very smoothly there. That's what I was trying to do. I'm assuming you're there somewhere. Yeah, you're probably parked over at the terminal. Yeah, so I chose, even though there are no parking spaces here, I decided to slew over here because it's so much more realistic. The only parking spaces defined in this Montreal are over at the terminal and at the Air Canada ramp, and it just would not be very realistic for Citation to leave from either place. And I definitely am still trying for that realism. So this is the... what is it? I think the guy's name is 514, and this is a Freeware Montreal scenery. It's available on FlightSim.to. He hasn't updated it in a little while now, so it's a little bit... it's not that it's falling behind. It's that he did such a great job initially, and I hoped he would continue the project because it really is a very nice piece of scenery. And if I can just be permitted to just sort of scroll around for a minute just to show you guys. This is Freeware scenery. The only thing I need to do is increase the drone speed so I can actually fly around at a reasonable rate. And then, you know, like it's not like they are hyper detailed buildings, but they are modeled. He's got the air creep back hangar here, some fairly reasonably basic textures, but at the end of the day, like, you know, for somebody who's just working on this in his spare time, came out really nice. The Bombardier factory is okay, a little bit more generic. That could definitely, but this is not. The first part of the Bombardier factory is rather generic, but this is a little bit more realistic. Not totally realistic, but he's got the right shapes of the buildings at least. And they do have all these doors here for all the different construction bays. But then you get over here to the Air Canada hangar, and here is a custom model that is quite well done. I mean, that's a very intricate, obviously, you know, cut and paste it and replicate it, but it's a very intricate design of this hangar. And he's done an excellent job with building some custom hangar models here, putting in some custom buildings here at the central de-ice facility, you know, complete with custom corporate logos and deckling, and then the terminal itself. Again, it's not high end, but for Freeware, it is very nice. You know, he's got the textures here for the Montreal office tower, the control towers, the hotels. The jet bridges are not quite in the right location where they should be, but again, you got to say this first of all. Freeware, this guy does not charge anything for what he's done here. You know, he just put some stuff together, but it looks pretty good. I'm sure when FlyTampa eventually probably releases their Montreal, it will look better than this. But compared to what default scenery is available, this is actually not a bad, model. Why can I not see you? Am I connected to the network here? I am connected to the network, and I see you were in Montreal, but I don't see you anywhere. Oh, there you are. I must have flown right over you. There you are, down there in the International Pier. Yeah, so this is, it's Freeware scenery. Go to FlightSim.to if you want to download this. It's for Freeware scenery, it's really quite good. There's been some custom modeling done. It's really quite well done. So I feel like I don't even have to rush today because I feel like there's, it's not that we don't have time. It's two fairly short legs, but it just, without boarding passengers and all that other stuff, without unrealistically boarding passengers and stuff, it seems like it's almost too easy to get this airplane going. But let's hop in and let's see if we can't get this thing going here. If I can figure out how to press keys, that'll get me into my airplane. There we go. And of course, now we got to switch to the good old track IR hat. So just give me one moment here. All right, and there we go. We're back on, and let me just make sure I had muted my mic this time because we've had that disaster before. Uh, I've got to say, like, I do like this model as well from the inside. It looks really nice from the inside. Not everything, of course, is interactive. Circuit breakers and things like that are not interactive, but it is overall a nice model. You know, the entire interior of this aircraft is modeled to some level in there. From where I'm sitting, it's a pretty good model. You know, nice finishes on the cabinetry, and even the latches and everything are well modeled. So it's overall a very nice model. It's a very small aircraft. It's a little bit simple to fly. One thing I'm going to do is just temporarily is eliminate that yoke because I find I spend so much time trying to get in here and see around it that I like to get rid of it when I'm setting up here. So uh, yeah, let's get ourselves set up here and get ready for this departure, and hope we'll get some ATC. It's Saturday morning. It's early, so I'm really not hopeful. But I was going to ask a friend of mine if he could come on, and I totally slipped my mind this week. I've been actually working this week, so it sort of slipped my mind. So I have a checklist. Working title does provide a checklist as well with their CJ4, which is great, and it literally just steps you right through it. So you know, full disclosure, I've flown this airplane a handful of times since I downloaded the latest version. I flew it a bunch when it first came out, then I sort of stopped flying it for a long time, was focused on the airliners, and now I just sort of just getting back into it. So I'm going to be kind of following the checklist for the flight here. So bear with me, but it's nice because the checklist really kind of just lays it out for you. So battery switch on. There you go. Emergency light switch armed. And standby flight display switch on. Avionics switch to dispatch. So there's two positions for the avionics switch. Three positions, I should say. There's off. There's avionics on, but there's also dispatch. And dispatch only just puts up a few things. It activates your FMS and a few other things so that you can pre-program before you start the engines and start burning lots of fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here like this and pause my track IR so it's at a more normal level. And let's see here, active database, February 24th to March 23rd. So it just uses the internal flight simulator database, which I've been updating with Navigraph, so it is up to date. And as with every FMS, you have to start out with a position initialization. Right now, if you just click this button, it copies it over and initializes it. So then we can go into our flight planning phase here. So today we're doing Montreal, CYUL, to, first of all, Ottawa, where we're going to show off the Roman design scenery, and hopefully it won't kill my frame rate too much. Only 82 miles. It's a really short flight. I could put in our alternate, but I'll show you what happens when I do, because this is a work in progress. Key not active. The nice thing is that they tell you things that are not working, so hopefully in the future that will become a workable option here. All right, so we're going to need a departure. Montreal 1, and actually before I even do that, I'm going to show you guys some other neat tricks that this will do here. So if I go into Index, and I go into Data Link, Weather, Request Terminal Weather for Montreal, and I send that. Normally, there's a couple settings, and I'll show you the settings, but I can go right into this now and view my weather. And here is a current METAR from Montreal. You have a choice of either having this retrieved from IVEO or VATSIM, so of course I chose VATSIM, but this is from VATSIM's METAR database. It says at 1300, 230 at 4, scattered 24,000, minus 10, minus 12, altimeter 3048. So we're looking at a southwest wind, so we are going to probably depart 24 left, super short taxi, and 3048 on the meter. And then we can even look at the TAF. If I go to the next page, it'll show me the whole TAF and everything. So really neat that you can do this here. Press the wrong button. I meant to press previous. So you can get the METARs without leaving the airplane, without even going into your sim client. And isn't that just like a fun little tool? More and more, it seems like a couple of airplanes are starting to implement this. I think PMDG is probably going to be all over this as well, getting the METARs directly into the airplane. So again, you don't even have to look at your pilot client to see this. And the other neat thing as well, hands in hand with this, is that you can also get ATIS. So if you have a controller online on VATSIM, you can send for an ATIS and it will come back into your FMS without ever having to look at the screen. You know, you get a very realistic kind of ACARS experience here, which is really neat. That I know that the A3NX also does this. Really kind of neat features. So, so yeah, so we're going to use 24 left for departure. So let's go back to the departure arrival page, and let's just select our runway now. We can execute that. go to our flight plan, and we see now we have runway 24 left, vectors on the Montreal 1, and it's a pretty easy flight plan today. I have it pulled up on my other screen here, but it should be able to leave Vadar vectors to ALCIT. Yep, ALCIT in the River 4. So a very simple flight today. So all I'm going to do, in fact, is just go to departure arrival and just go straight into the arrival. And actually, the one thing I should do, because of the short leg, I want to make sure I'm actually ready ahead of time. So let's go to this again. And if I was a smart person, I would think about these things ahead of time, but Ottawa weather. So Ottawa winds are 260 at 3, 15 miles, broken at 25,000, minus 12, minus 14, altimeter 3046. And what was it here in Montreal? 3048. So what I might do really quickly here is just set it on here so I don't lose it. 3048. That is some cold, high pressure out there today. All right. So yeah, so we're going to plan departure arrival into Ottawa, and we're going to be on the River 4, ALCIT transition. We're going to plan straight into an RNAV runway 25. RNAV Sulu runway 25. It doesn't matter which one I pick because it should, we're going to eliminate the base transitions anyways. So let's go into legs and see what it has. Vector. So ALCIT, so we're going to move ALCIT after the vector leg. It doesn't like that. Okay. I'm still learning this one. It's relatively new to me here, so. Can I delete it? No. It's got to have the discount after the vector leg. Okay, that's fine. And then ALCIT Turo Tefli, and then Advos Tefli. So let's take that Tefli. We should be able to move that Tefli up on top of that Tefli. And that links up our legs nicely. And what we can also do, just to see if it worked correctly, is come into our MFD here. And I'm getting artifacts here. So hold on one second. Let me just see if I can't eliminate these. Just give me 1 second. All right. Sorry about that, guys. The one thing about, of course, streaming in this room now is that, especially spring is kind of coming and the sun is coming up a little earlier, I get lots of sunlight in here, and sunlight loves to mess with track IR. All right, so if we go with lower menu here, what I was going to try and do, and I'm not sure if I can even do it, but what I can try to do is select plan, and if I then zoom out a little bit here. Nope, does not want to zoom out. Why does it not want to zoom out today? It's just fixed in the plan mode. It doesn't allow zooming. I'll be honest, I'm still learning this airplane. Still relatively new to me, so okay. Yeah, no, that's all it's going to do. All right, so be it. You know, I never even finished this checklist because I'm so eager to get you into the FMS here. I'm just going to do it really quickly here. Parking brake is set. Wheel chocks removed. Cabin door closed. The passenger briefing will complete. Seat belts, and so we're going to secure. Not that one. That one. Exterior lights. We should have the nav light on.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt sign.
Thank you. ICAS checked. FMS is checked and set, and the climate control switch is off. So. All right, so anyways, we've got the legs in there. I was going to check to make sure the sequence is correct, but we'll be able to check it once we're airborne here. The other thing I might be able to do is check it this way. I don't understand why it won't let me zoom. Maybe it's because we're only in dispatch mode, but anyways, we'll have a look at it because it should work in a minute. The other thing we've got to do then is also perfin it, which is really quite straightforward. Now this thing has planned us at 16,000 feet. That's not a terrible altitude to go to Ottawa. The thing about the citation is it climbs really quick. Especially, 16,000 feet is going to be there in no time. 16,000 feet is our cruise altitude. We're going to have 2 passengers today. And then once we got our weight set up and our runway inputted here, we can actually get takeoff numbers. I think it's also going to want a temperature. And I forget what it said. I think it was -10 or something like that. The only trouble with doing it this way, of course, is you're constantly going back and forth to get information. It is -10. I was right. Should trust myself. So performance, takeoff, -10. And now we should have performance numbers. And it actually lets us put these directly into our PFD as well. So they'll be displayed V198, VR99, V2-113, VT-140. So I'll send those over to the PFD and they'll be there when we need them. And that's basically it. We're now set up to go in terms of the FMS. Basically, at this point, we can start our engines and get ready to go. So, Squibbly, I don't know how you're doing over there at the terminal, but if you're just about ready to go, and look, somebody spawned in with a DC-6 over there. Very nice. Very nice. All right, so let's go ahead to the checklist here. So for engine start, it's pretty straightforward. Throttle's idle, and I have to get rid of my other headset here for a second. So throttles, and let's just verify that they work. The flap lever works, the speed brake lever works. Yep, they all work. Okay, so throttles are idle, and engine start button push. So we're going to start the left engine first. Clear on the left. Starting. You can hopefully hear it. Hopefully that's loud enough for you guys to hear. You can see it. I honestly don't know what the run setting is. I've generally gone to about 20%. Depends on the turbine engine. Some, 13, 14%. Some of them will need to see 20%. So I'm looking for 20% here. And then we're going to put the start-stop selector to run. There's 20%. Left engine. Run. Put some fuel. You can hear it really kind of whooshing. You're going to see the ITT start to climb here in a minute. The N1 is climbing already. And actually, one thing I didn't do is I didn't fuel up the airplane. That's okay. Ottawa's a short flight. This will be more than enough fuel. We may have to just refuel in Ottawa briefly. Oh, the DC-6 is taxiing already. So it's going to stable at about 55% N2, about 21, 22% N1 here. There we go. It's very nice and stable now. Perfect. So that's a good start on number 1. And then we can start engine 2, the same thing. Just close that guard. Start engine 2. And again, you see it turning. In this case, we don't need any APUs, just electric start because it's a relatively small turbine engine. We don't need that. We don't need bleed air to push these things. That oil heated up really fast from -10 to 86 degrees in about 25 seconds. Not exactly the most realistic there. That should probably be slowed down a little bit. I mean, yes, it will increase, but you're not going to see it increase like that. It's going to take when you're at -10, it's going to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to reach operating temperature. You'll also notice even the ITT here, the caution range snaps to a different range depending on whether you're in the start or not. So in the start, you're allowed a much bigger caution range. Once you get to engines running, then the caution range goes to a much more normal level. So there it is. So we pass 52%. Everything comes online. Close that guard. And let's see here. ICAS check opposite engine start. We did that. External power disconnect. We didn't have it. And electrical system check. So check our batteries. The says the battery is still training, which is not correct at this point because the generators are in the on position. But anyways, avionics switch now to on. Now we get lights and everything everywhere. Why is my... Oh, there we go. Now my zooming switch works. It must not be functional when I'm only on the dispatch mode. All right, avionics switch on. Climate selector to norm. Passenger light safety button. And I realized I didn't put my webcam back up. There you go. Passenger light safety button. So we've got safety and seatbelts on. Trims, check and set. Now, I've tried this before, and I swear I don't see the trim. Oh, it does move. All right, last time I tried it, wouldn't move. And you can check the aileron and the rudder trim as well down here if they work. And they're pretty much centered there. Let's see here. Flight controls free and correct. So now I can bring back my control column. Can't see much from here. Don't have any control indicators, so I'd have to look out the window to see what I could see. Really, all I'm feeling for is that it's correct at this point. But it does help me tell me that my controls are actually working in the sim too. Speed brake and ground spoiler, so you can do a speed brake spoiler check. Flaps checked, and we'll set for takeoff, which is 15 degrees. Hydraulic pressure, you can check it, 3,000 psi. It's right there. Engine only. Anti-ice is anti-ice is down here. We don't need engine anti-ice today, although it is pretty icy there for the taxi. Pedostatic EDAR going on. Takeoff data, confirm and set. So let's see here. We got 3048. We got to make sure we set 3048 on the altimeter on our PFD now. And takeoff data. So we're going to need 5,000 feet on the Montreal 1. I found out there's a secret toga button here. Push on the left fire bottle thing here. There's a secret toga button, kind of like PMDG used to do with their hidden toga buttons. So now we've got our toga speeds. We don't set because they don't do anything because we don't have auto throttle. So we're just going to have to just go with full power. So now we've got that. Just got to make sure that we've got runway heading set, which we do. Heading 237. It is already set. Perfect. And then the takeoff data, you can see the numbers there. V1 196, VR 199, V2 113, T140. Avionics are checked and set. Autopilot. We can do an auto engage and disengage test. And that worked. Let's get toga back up there again. Altimeter 3046 set and cross-checked. And pressurization. I don't know where to verify the pressurization. It's one thing I've been sort of looking for, and I can't figure out where it is in this airplane. So I'm just going to go with sure. ICAS checked. We've got no messages. Aft divider doors latched open. Yeah, they're all latched open. Basically, we're all good to go. Just going to do a quick little takeoff briefing. And one more thing that is fun in this airplane here is we do have, supposed to have, charts. In order to get them to work, the one thing I found is that you have to, of course, reinitialize every single time. So I've got my account linked, but it's got to open up the browser window on the other screen, and then input your password and everything and send it back, and it should allow us to now select charts. Navigraph linked. And now we've got charts on our PFD. Select. Give it a couple seconds for it to load, and voila, we now have the Montreal 1 departure on our PFD. Super neat stuff that these guys have done here. So quick takeoff briefing. We're going to taxi out for runway 24 left. It's literally right there. So I'm not even going to tell you, give you a taxi briefing. It's Romeo to 24 left. The Montreal 1 departure, 10-3, 100 miles safe 74, contact departure control airborne. Well, there's nobody online anyway, so that's kind of redundant. I don't know how to make this thing scroll. Oh, neat though. If you scroll this, it goes through your whole list of charts. Oh, that's neat. I don't know how to make it any bigger, so I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. Oh, there we go. Zoom. It only seems to have two sizes though. Anyways, it's runway heading 237. So I'm still trying to learn this. I have this is one of the first times I've really got the charts to work successfully. So again, Navigraph, thank you for making me log in 17 times into the same sim. Oh, mercy. Just load it up really quickly from my sim brief. And then we've got the Montreal 1 departure. We know what it says anyways. I've done it 100 times, but we're going to read it anyways. Open the charts. Montreal 1. Alright, and it is. So runway 24 left, heading 237 assigned for vectors, and unless otherwise on my ATC, jet aircraft maintain 5,000. So we got 5,000 feet set, we got 237 set. I'd say we're just about ready to go. Yeah. So let's get this show on the road, and I'm sorry, Squibbly, I haven't been paying attention to that chat whatsoever there. That identifier is amazing, CNABs. Yeah, it's not the one that's on the outside of my aircraft, but yeah, I actually, I'm ready for push, but the packs aren't. I'm faster, so feel free to catch an Ottawa. Okay, yeah, sounds like a good plan, because yeah, definitely in an Airbus you'll outpace me, so we'll get this show on the road. Park and brake off, and away we go. Farewell Starlink Aviation Montreal. And here we go to Ottawa. And there is a taxi checklist. Taxi check exterior lights as required. So let's get that taxi light on. The beacon should have been on for the start. I don't know why that's not in the checklist. I may have to change the checklist a little to put it in there. Brakes. Apply, hold, parking brake release. Brakes are checked. Nose wheel steering is also checked now. And flight instruments also checked. It looks like it goes with us. And there goes the DC-6. One thing I did not do, if I'm being a bad pilot here, I did not get my Unicom frequency up. 22.8. And again, I'm very not used to kind of flowing through this aircraft, so let's get the TCAS on. That should put it on. Yeah, that work mode C is on. There goes the DC-6. Montreal traffic. Charlie Golf, Charlie Sierra, Charlie is holding short of runway 24 left in Montreal. Now, yeah, I have this call sign in here. The one I'm actually using on VATSIM is a new citation call sign I made up. It's Charlie Sierra, Charlie. I'm going to be using that one, and I should change this in here. This is just the customized, whatever the, what am I trying to say here? Yeah, like the customized like call sign you use in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I have that for my default call sign now. For any videos that I make, I tend to use that one. All right, that was a really quick taxi. Before takeoff checklist, ice protection system. Looks like a clear day, so I'm not going to put the ice protection on. Rudder bias system, I honestly don't know what that means. Seats upright and outboard, flaps checked and set. And I'm just going to go back to... I'm going to get rid of charts is what I'm going to do. I have to do this. And then I can go turn off chart. There we go. So flaps are checked and 15 and set. Speed brakes are at 0. Trims 3 set for takeoff. Crew briefing is complete. TCAS is TARA. Radars as required. Go around button has been pushed. Battery amps verify 20 or less. This does not seem to ever change, so just let it be. Ice protection system is again as required. We just got the pedostatic heat. And exterior lights as required, and ICAS check. So ready to take position. We'll get the landing lights and the strobes on, and park and brake back off, and away we go. Montreal Trudeau traffic citation. Golf Charlie Sierra Charlie. Take position runway 24 left departure. Montreal 1 for Ottawa. All right, clear right and left. It's weird to be in an airplane that's so low to the ground again. I'm so used to being in an airliner and being a little taller, but it's a little different.
That's the traffic. Air Canada 13 radio check.
Air 5.
Loud and clear. Thank you.
All right.
That's I don't think I hear you.
Yeah, the other guy can barely hear him.
Rob, you're not coming through on that.
All right. Alright, stand by, because sometimes this does happen. Give me 1 second here. I'm just going to go and fix this, because I find like it often defaults to a very low volume, and I don't know why. Let's try that. See, the trouble is that then increase this, and yeah. Ah, you know why? That's what happens when you get too many audio devices hooked up to your computer. Check. Check, check, check. 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 Sorry. I'm literally looking at the volume. And Montreal traffic, Golf Charlie Sierra Charlie, radio check.
Loud and clear, 5x5.
Thank you. Golf Charlie Sierra Charlie is on runway 24 left, rolling for departure. Alright, takeoff power.
Montreal traffic, Air Canada 1013, taxi runway 24 left by the apron.
There's 93. It takes no time at all for this airplane to reach that speed. Come on. Alright, positive rate. Gear up. Look at this. It reaches 170 knots. It just seconds here. Alright, there's climb power. And we're well above retracting the flap speed. Alright, so let's go ahead and go heading. Flight level change. And let's go yaw damper, autopilot on. And then we can increase our speed to 10 knots. Alright, there's 3,000. So that's the noise abatement altitude of Montreal, so we can now go direct to our first fix, our only fix, which is all set. Montreal traffic citation Golf Charlie Sierra Charlie is airborne and turning for Montreal through 4,000.
Altitude.
And there's our altitude already. The thing about a citation is she is a fast climber. So I'm going to set 16,000 now at this point. Let it keep on climbing. It's still in FLC mode, so there we go. And let's go ahead and increase the speed to 230. Just a super fast climber, which is kind of what makes it a little bit fun too. Like, you really have to be on it though, because you'll bust your altitude so quickly, and you'll bust your speed too, because you have so much excess power in this thing. After takeoff, climb check, landing gear is up, flaps are 0, throttles are at climb, yaw damper is on, autopilot is on, ice protection systems as desired. Let's go ahead with just some engine anti-ice, just because, wing and engine anti-ice, just because we're going to fly through a few clouds there. Passenger signs button, we're just going to leave them on for such a short flight. Landing light button is going to stay on for the time being. And pressurization, I don't even know where to get pressurization in this aircraft, honestly. Is it inter-systems? Nope. Altimeters, 3048 set cross-checked. We're going to leave that for now. But there we go. We are just like super fast, 230 knots here. We're already through almost 9,000 feet. She won't move as fast in cruise, but boy, she'll outclimb that 320 on departure. All right, let's do this because we gotta be ready fast here. It's a fast flight to Ottawa in this thing here. We're already leaving Montreal behind. There go the highways at the west end of the island. So we're at the west end of Montreal Island already. Heading westbound. There's the highways. There's the railway that goes across from the end of Montreal. Alright, but it's a really quick flight to Ottawa, so let's really quickly pull up that information for Ottawa again. And we're looking at altimeter 3046, and it's minus 12 degrees in Ottawa. And the reason I need to know that is because I also have approach numbers that can automatically be calculated. So long as I have temperature and altimeter setting that is accurate, 3046. I'm going to assume it's a dry runway at this point. Runway 25, that is correct. And I can send my VREF and my VAP speed 106, 113. And look at this, we're already through 10,000 feet, so we can take the landing lights off just like that. And yeah, I mean, there's no point in pulling up the speed because at this point we're coming up to 16,000. It's going to level off in a second, and there's no auto thrust. So as soon as it starts to level off, it's just going to maintain whatever speed the thrust levers will give it. So I'm going to bring it back to cruise power, which is maximum about 96% there. And just let it accelerate a little bit here. And I'm going to pull up my charts really quickly here because we got to do this really quick. It is a short flight to Ottawa from Montreal, especially if you're in something fast like a Citation or anything, any kind of jet really. All right, so quick pull up the, oh, I'm on the wrong airport, that's why. Ottawa charts. There we go, that's why I couldn't find the River 4 arrival. And the RNAV Zulu to runway 25 straight in. Alright, so River 4 arrival. Joining it at Alset, we do thorough at or below 10,000 for runway 25. And then straight to Tefley at or above 3,000. 10-2 Delta, glider activity, 100 miles safe, and aircraft. None of these things apply to us. Let's just see if the legs page has our restrictions in there, and before you know it, we're overspeeding. Because I'm already not paying attention to what I'm doing there, and I'm already thinking about the next step. Got to 300 knots in a real hurry, didn't it? It doesn't have the thorough restriction. I should be able to do it. Grow 10,000 and below. There we go. I was able to do it. Alright, and the approach is the RNAV to runway 25. I'm just still kind of learning some of the stuff in here, so I don't know how to set the minimums on this. Is there a way, or is it under the performance approach page? No. Nope. It does give you an estimated landing distance though, 2,500. I use a 1 and a 1.67 factor. It's 4,300 on set on 8,000 feet, so that's good. Yeah, I don't have any way to set the minimums. But anyways, the RNAV Zulu runway 25. Final approach course is 251. We should see that inbound from the last couple fixes there. 251 Tefley to Vivax to runway 25. Vivax height is 2,000. And the LNAV VNAV DA is 620. Sorry, the LNAV VNAV MDA is 659, so I'll use 660 for now. I don't know how to set that. I'll have to figure that out in the future. Mr. Approach is climbing to 3,000 feet, track 251 advised. Really, it's VFR, so we'll be fine. Get the power back, so we're going to start going down in a second here. Touchdown zone at 362. MSA is 3,000 feet. All sectors are on the threshold of the runway. And Mr. Approach is 3,000 feet straight ahead to Faisal. Let's go ahead and get 10,000 feet in here. Actually, 8,000 is usually what they give you for your first descent into Ottawa. And let's go BS. Minus 1,200. Oh, there is a top of descent point calculated. Well, we're already on it. We'll just go with VS minus 1,000. I have not actually seen the VNAV work properly yet, so I'm curious to see if it's going to work all the way down to the runway. 100 miles safe, 7,000. Intensive training with areas northwest of the airport. Uncompensated barrel VNAV systems. Don't worry about that. And Pappy's SALR lighting system. It's VFR anyway, so it's going to be a beautiful landing there in Ottawa. So there we go. We've got our top of descent point is sliding along there to keep track of our 10,000 or below, which is great. It is actually working. So I did start down a little soon, but better start down sooner than too late. Alright, so we're going to skip the cruise check right to the descent check, pressurization, verify, set landing elevation. I honestly still don't know where to do this. I'm going to have to figure this out later. Ice protection systems as required, altimeters, so 3046 for Ottawa. There we go, 3046 set. And exterior lights as required. We're going to come down to 10,000 feet a minute, so we'll get the landing light on already. And that's it. Ottawa is just ahead over there. It's not very far at all. such a short flight in this airplane, but part of it is just the fun I want to do. No, crash the desktop. Oh no. Dear God, no. And that's one thing I have noticed FlyTampa. It caused 2 crashes to desktop in Toronto for me so far. The first one, mind you, I was just drones scrolling around the airport like crazy, so I may have just overlaid the sim that way. I did get a second one, so it'd be interesting to see. Here comes my VNAV. I'm going to try to keep my speed to 250 or less, just because it's otherwise we're going to be overspeeding here on the descent pretty quickly. But it did not take very long there. Well, this will give you a little bit more time to get set up in Ottawa, because even in Ottawa, like in this airplane, I'm going to be able to do a pretty quick turn. And then once we get on the Toronto leg, we'll have a little bit more time. It's still not a long flight. It's still only about 40 minutes, so it's still going to be a really short stream, I think, today for 2 legs especially, which is going to contrast with the next one, where the next one I had planned was Toronto to Sault Ste. Marie to Winnipeg. That's a long flight. That's a long 2 flights. That'll be a good solid 3 to 4 hour stream, so hopefully next time we can do a little more. This actually works really well for me today too, because I actually have some stuff to do pretty soon, right after lunch. So aiming to be done by 11:30, which I think will probably be done even before that, works to my advantage today. Alright, so there's the thorough, which has got to be at or below 10. You can see our pink VNAV is coming in here. I wonder if I can arm the VNAV. There it is. And it's got path is armed, so like I said, I've only used this a handful of times. I haven't been able to get the VNAV to work very successfully yet, but look at that, VPath. It does seem like it's found the VNAV path. It's going to track it all the way down, which is good, because we're doing an RNAV approach, so we kind of need that VNAV today. And Squibbly, happy to do it anytime. It's just nice to have someone to fly with, too. Take up a little bit more of those VATSIM skies, because sometimes they feel honestly quite empty, especially when we do this early in the morning. But yeah, my schedule is not the easiest to accommodate either, so I totally get it. And if you want to come flying, I am more than happy to try and work as best I can to see that you get to come flying with us. It's nice to see that this VNAV action is working really well here, though. It's tracking this VNAV path really well. It seems like we were perfectly on track to hit thorough at 10,000 feet. Do I have an approach checklist in this here? And we do have an approach checklist. So because we're about to hit 10,000, we'll do the approach checklist. Landing data confirmed. It is confirmed. Crew briefing. I did do a very, very quick briefing there. That is complete. Avionics and flight instruments are checked. So we got 8,000 feet for now. 3046. We're in LNAV, VNAV mode, VPath modes. Minimums. See, and I couldn't figure out how to set the minimums. So if anybody knows, Barrow, tilt, range, course. I have no idea how to set minimums on this thing here. PFD menu. Bearing source, config, overlays. Range, barrel set, refs. Oops, one more. Aha! I figured it out. Give me some time, I figure these things out. What did I say it was? Where's my charts here? We're going to have to put a lower altitude here in just a second, but come on, charts. Come on. Show me that Ottawa. I thought I pinned all these things. RNAV runway 25. 660.
Altitude.
I know. Just let me just get this in there. 660, perfect. All right, let's get 4,000, 3,000. There's nobody else around here. $3,000. Perfect. All right, so we figured out how to set the minimums. There you go. I'm learning new stuff all the time here. All right, so minimums are set. Fuel tank selector is, fuel transfer selector is off. Exterior lights are all as required. Ice protection system. There's a few clouds out there. I don't think we're gonna hit any of them, so I'll go ahead and take the engine and wing anti-ice off. Flaps 15, we don't need that yet. Passenger briefing is complete. Seats are upright and outboard. Seatbelts are adjusted and secure. Passenger safety light buttons are on, and the pressurization less than 0.5 psi for landing. So at some point, I'm going to figure out where the pressurization system is in this aircraft. I don't know where it is yet, but I'll figure it out. Ottawa traffic citation, Gulf Charlie Sierra Charlie, 25 miles east of the field, inbound on the RNAV Zulu runway 25. Oh, we got a tower. We got a tower. I just noticed that. I'm looking over at my VATSIM window, or my VPilot window, and we got a tower. Nice. 18.8. We are going to get some ATC, and I'm always skeptical. Every day it's the same thing. Every time we do this stream, I'm always skeptical. Oh, we won't get any ATC on VATSIM. Nobody's going to come on early in the morning. Nobody knows we're here. And then every time, almost every time, we seem to get at least some ATC somewhere. All right, I feel a little better now. I was feeling like that leg is so short. Super rushed, and especially for an airplane that I'm not familiar with, and I'm obviously, as you guys can tell, I'm still learning it. It's fun. This is tons of fun as an airplane. In FS economy, it is a great jet to fly. Yeah. I'll call you in a minute. We're 25 miles east still. Yeah, it's a great airplane to fly in the FS economy world, because it's a good hauler. She burns quite a lot of gas, but you can get a long way too, so you can make a lot of money really quick in this thing. We got information golf in Ottawa now. Oh, let's actually try this. Let's do this. Hold on. I want to see if this works. All right, data link. ATIS. How do I change the airport? Do I do CYOW? Yes. Check that out. Ottawa ATIS Info Golf, weather 1400, winds calm. Visibility 15, 25,000, broken temperature minus 10. Dew point minus 12, altimeter 3047, IFR approach, ILS 25 and 32, departures runway 25, inform ATC. Haha! Look at that. Nice. I like it. Alright. Ottawa Tower, very good morning. Citation Gulf Charlie Sierra Charlie. Let's see, we're with you about 20 miles east, descending for 3,000 on the RNAV Zulu runway 25. Oh, I see the runway strobe lights.
Citation calling, Takeoff again?
Citation Gulf Charlie Sierra Charlie.
Citation Golf Sierra, corrections. Citation Golf Charlie Sierra Charlie, Ottawa Tower, bonjour. Wind calm, clear to land runway 25.
Clear to land runway 25, Gulf Charlie Sierra Charlie, bon matin. Alright, cleared to land. As we pass Tefley here, it's a 10-mile final. We're going to start slowing this thing up here. Maybe I should start slowing it up.
How are you doing, Rob?
Oh, we're having fun this morning, and it's nice to hear some ATC online. I wasn't expecting any.
I was supposed to grab the arrivals, but my instructor kind of ditched me.
Ah, c'est la vie.
Yes, sir.
Smile for the cameras. All right. Not too bad though. The VNAV path, I gotta say, the VNAV path looks like it's working really nicely to hit Tefley at 3,000 feet. So that's like, VNAV is such a fantastic feature when it works. It takes so much workload off the pilot, and especially when you're single pilot all the time, as it is the case in the VATSIM network. You're almost always single pilot. Yeah, it looks like we're going through the center line right about now, but yeah, it's going to turn any second now. Here comes the turn. And then there's 3,000 feet, so I'm not sure if this is gonna work. I'm honestly not sure. I'm gonna set the 2,000 foot VIVAX height there. It's in VPath now. And I don't even know my speeds for this. It's 200 knots, right? 200 knots for flap 15. And 160 knots for flap 35. So we can probably go, there's 198, we can go flaps 15. That'll help us slow down even more. Now that we're well below 3,000, if I go...
Altitude.
3,000, will it continue descending like it should? Where's my VNAV button gone here? I'm blind here. No, it won't do it. It'll keep a pitch though, so if I set it to 3, no, that's too aggressive. That's weird because 3-degree pitch should perfectly match that approach, but maybe 1 was where it should be. Alright, let's go ahead. That's coming up to VIVX. We're a little bit low, so let's just level it out for a minute here. Let's go gear down. Let's give it a little bit of power here. Alright, and let's do the before landing check. Landing gear is down 3. Down 3 green. Flaps 35 to go. Speed brake 0%. Airspeed, we got to slow to VREF. And autopilot and yaw damper disengage. Alright, so now we're back to where we should be. Almost on slope. We're a tiny bit low. Pretty close though. I think I may have to in the future just set the minimums. Alright, we can set flap 35. There's flap 35 indicated. Our VREF, or our VAP is looking like about 113. And I'm going to go ahead and disengage the autopilot. Just pitch up a little bit so we're not going to crash into those trees there on final. While we keep slowing down. Well below the path, so let's see if we can get back on the path here. There we go, now we're getting back into the path. Trying to get back to my VREF of 113 as well. But like this airplane has so much surplus power, you gotta be very careful with it. You add a little bit of power and suddenly you've gained 40 knots. Especially if you sort of are pitching back down again.
500.
Stable. Is down and locked. I always check it like another time on final just to be safe. Perhaps a little bit hard to see against that snowy background, but it looks like we're on path, but we're gaining a little bit of speed here, so let's just pull the power off just a little bit. And we're landing, by the way. Power off a little bit early just because we're going a little bit above our planned speed there. Wow, it's even got the slope on the runway there.
Altitude.
And no reverse thrust in this thing, so just hammer the brakes.
Charlie Sierra Charlie, la bienvenue à Ottawa. Turn right onto Echo, then taxi Echo, ramp your discretion, and gain choice of the
And Charlie Sierra Charlie, merci, turn right on Echo, and I'd like to request Bravo down to the SO.
Okay, that can work as well. You can taxi Echo, Bravo, and ramp is at your discretion. Have a great day.
All right, Echo, Bravo, ramp at our discretion. Thank you very much, and don't go anywhere. We're going to be turning around, going to Toronto in about 15 minutes.
All right, works out for me.
Don't go anywhere. Oh, there you are. Well, at least you got it booted up here. What a nice model this is. It is still a bit hectic on the frame rate, though. The guy may have put a little bit too much detail into it, where if you don't have
Good morning. Air Canada 1013.
a super high-end computer, it's a little rough. Okay, let's just do a quick after landing checklist here. So speed brakes are 0, flaps are going to 0.
Canada 1013, Ottawa Tower, bon matin. You're cleared to Toronto by the Ottawa 4 departure.
Let's see here.
Departure 22.
Sorry, I'm just looking here. Ice protection is off, radar standby, and lights. Let's put the taxi light on, kill the strobe light, and away we go. Taxi to the habitat.
Alright, clear to Toronto.
Didn't burn too much of our gas, did we? We only burned about 800 pounds to get here. But I think I will put a little bit more fuel in the airplane before we go to before we go to Toronto.
0317, pardon.
Now 1013, reback is correct. Information Golf is current, coming back ready for taxi.
I love this scenery because it's so beautiful, but the guy went a little bit overkill, I think, on the detail to the point where it is still hard on the frame rate. What it needs is some good performance optimization, especially if I look at the terminal with all the gates and all the detail down there that this guy has put in there. It makes a noticeable impact on the frame rates just looking at the terminal. As soon as you look away from the terminal and you look the other way, it's very smooth. And he's done a fantastic job. The modeling is great. The Roman Designs Ottawa. Beautiful, beautiful airport. But it's just, and he's even got the slopes in there. Like the ramp is sloped where it should be. The runway was sloped as we kind of came up that first hill there at the threshold of runway 25. Was great. He's done a fantastic job. But at the end of the day, that's, I think, one of the toughest jobs of a good scenery designer in, whoa, the hell, buddy. One of the toughest jobs of a scenery designer, scenery developer, is optimizing. It's easy to kind of like just create like an infinite array of beautiful models and put so much detail into the sim that it looks fantastic as long as you're taking still shots. The second you try to taxi around the airport, you realize you just can't even do it. You can't even look at it. It's so, you know, it just kills your frame rate so much. So that's, I love what this guy has done, and I wish him all good luck. It just needs some performance optimization, especially around the terminal. He's done a fantastic job. It looks absolutely gorgeous, but really hard on the frame rates. All right, there's the shell. Here is the
Ottawa Tower.
Sky service now.
It's Transat 534 with you at gate 12. Request IFR clearance to Puerto Vallarta. We have information Golf on.
Didn't mean to jump that so quickly. I wanted to make a
make
little adjustment there because one thing I found in a previous stream especially is that ATC was so loud that you couldn't hear anything I was saying. And really, who wants to listen to ATC? You're here to listen to me. I don't mean that in a bad way. But it was so loud that like I was trying to talk over them, and I could talk, but nobody could hear anything that I was saying. It was so hard to discern what I was saying. So there we go. So yeah, I turned the ATC down.
534, we have returned to pleasure to copy.
But hopefully that's still, the balance is still good. I just noticed that in the previous video. All right, shut down. So parking brake is set. Emergency lights off. Standby flight display switch off. And avionics switch. I'm going to go back to dispatch because we're going to immediately start setting up for the next flight. Climate control selector off. Ice protection systems are all off. And throttles are at idle. Run stop lights stop.
So that's 534. Just confirm your destination.
Exterior lights
Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
are off. Battery switch we're going to leave on for the setup for the next flight. Control locks and engine covers as required. We don't need any of them.
So that's 534. Read back correct. Information Golf. Call back ready for taxi. And I have one traffic pushing out gate
And that
20.
will not work.
Okay, Roger. We'll be a couple of minutes before we're ready to push. We'll give you a call ready for taxi 5 Transat 4.
I wonder if I can do this here. It doesn't like to reset this. Oh, it's going to be annoying if I have to listen to this thing. Maybe I will. Nope. I just wanted to see if that would get rid of it. Nope, that's going to be annoying. We're going to have to listen to that for a minute. But anyways, I'm just going to pop the door here. Unfortunately, I don't have actually the ability to do that, which is a bit of a shame. But there we go. So now we've got a Citation here parked in Ottawa. Beautiful scenery. And what a fun flight, if nothing else. Though, boy, was that fast. I gotta say. So bear with me now for just a minute here, guys, because I've got to refile, and I notice, of course, that I've got way too much light here on my screen behind me there, and now it's, of course, showing up really badly. So let's just see if I can really quickly adjust that.
Ottawa Tower, Foxtrot Whiskey, Delta Bravo, requesting an IFR clearance to Ottawa. I have information golf on board.
Airbus Foxtrot Whiskey, Delta Bravo, Ottawa Tower, bonjour. You're clear to Ottawa by the Ottawa 4 departure. Maintain 4,000 feet. Runway 25, squawk 0324.
Can't get rid of that without
Clear the Ottawa 4 departure. Expect runway 25 for takeoff.
getting rid of me.
And maintain 4,000.
It's just
Squawk
too bright.
0324.
Just gonna do this for a
morning,
second here.
Whiskey Delta Bravo.
Whiskey Delta Bravo, read back as correct.
Reduce the amount of light coming on
Golf.
there.
Call me back ready for taxi. I have one traffic pushing out, gate 20.
Roger, we'll call you back from there for taxi. Whiskey Delta Bravo.
Sometimes this room is almost too bright. There we go. That's a little better. I just hate when you see like a whole like chunk of background up here in the corner or whatever. All right, so yeah, bear with me. I have to just refile quickly for the next leg. Good old sim brief. What would I do without you? But it's a really quick leg, and of course the reason we're doing it today is because of course last week's FlyTampa suddenly, almost without warning, with about 2 days warning, released their Toronto scenery, and what a thing of beauty it is, really and truly. All right, yeah, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, let's do it that way. And yeah, just what a thing of beauty. So we're gonna go and check it out. We're gonna go fly over to Toronto, and we're gonna see this scenery. And I find it has a better frame rate at the end of the day, and I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way, but again, the Roman Designs is yeah, he seems like a newer developer. Doesn't seem like someone who's been in this business for a long time. He's done a fantastic job though. Like, it's really good, but just needs a little performance optimization, I think, to help. Unless you're running a super high-end rig, it's a little bit too far in the high end. So let's just do this. That's good. And I have to reset this. My streaming overlay right now has got nothing on it. I have to reset it for the new flight. It's you know, you don't realize it. There's quite a bit of work that I do before I start a stream. It usually takes me 20 minutes or half an hour sitting down at the computer before I actually start a stream, between filing flight plans and all that other stuff, kind of getting that stuff done. There we go, Ottawa, Toronto at the top there. It's good. All right, and let's just check and make sure that... Nope, for some reason it's not refiled correctly here. Yet I thought I hit refile, unless I have the wrong... Oh, that's why, because I filed it under the wrong call sign. Now let's check it here. There we go. Now we get the right call sign, so now we can call them up for the clearance and everything else. All right. Whew. I feel like I'm working for my money today. All right. It's enough gratuitous airplane external shots. Back to this thing here. It's yelling at me. It's going to yell at me till I start these engines again. Fortunately, fuel is free. Speaking of fuel, let's just check my sim brief for a moment here. You know what I want to do on that external shot again for a second is just remove myself. Just so I can have like a nice shot I can use maybe for the title card for this episode. Alright, so do I have gamma still on? You know what, that's funny. I didn't even realize this, guys. But I still have gamma correction on from the previous flight we did at night, where I was trying to sort of, yeah, make it a little nicer to look at here. Just trying to create some nice dramatic images. Okay, sorry. Let's get back to work here. Yeah, so fuel. Before we forget, let's ask the guy here for some fuel. We need at least 2,500 pounds to get to Toronto with a little bit of
Ottawa
action.
Tower, Whiskey Delta Bravo, hoping to make an amendment to the flight plan, changing our altitude to 5,000, Whiskey Delta Bravo.
Whiskey Delta Bravo,
Why are we filed at
Roger. You're cleared
430?
by the Ottawa 4 departure,
All right,
and
pounds.
the bounce is unchanged.
We want
to the
2,500, so we want to see at least. Yeah, we almost have enough.
For the Ottawa 4 departure, and everything else unchanged from the rest, Whiskey Delta Bravo.
There we go. That should be enough. I am filed at 430, and I don't know why. I'm gonna revise that, and I'm gonna say 34 because that's a ridiculous altitude 430. So we'll invert that 34,000 feet. Otherwise, we'll keep the flying the same. All right. So let's get rid of this for a second, and let's start setting this up again here. Should have, no, didn't vacate my flight plan, that's okay. We will vacate it ourselves here by doing this. CYOW. There we go. Sorry if that's going to get annoying. I don't know how to make the stupid alarms go away at this point.
What's our station calling? Say again?
Air Canada 1013, just to let you know we're about 5 minutes to push.
All right.
Roger.
Sounds like it's a busy morning in Ottawa already. I love it. Ottawa 4 departure, runway 25. Execute that. Check out cell. Yeah. All right. So then we basically go straight into the arrival for Toronto. And let's do this. Index, data link, weather. CYYZ. All right, so the winds today, 110 at 12. So we may actually be swinging around for 05 for arrivals today, which actually works really well for me anyways. So yeah, let's plan on that. So arrival into Toronto, it's the Amoeba 6 arrival, 2-gear transition, and plan the ILS 05 SIGAM transition. Execute that. Now we should have lots of legs in here. We've got a discon after the vector leg. That's fine as long as we got 2-gear in there, Tabmo, and then all these waypoints are in there. Then we got another vector and another discon before we do the ILS to 05. Performance. 34,000. And takeoff runway 25. Should have numbers in there. No, why does it not have numbers in there? There we go. Now we got numbers. Send them over to the PFD, and we basically got the avionics more or less ready to go. So we're ready to fire it up in a moment here. Before start, let's just make sure we got everything done. Battery switch on, emergency lights armed, standby flight displays on. Avionics switch is at dispatch. Parking brake is set. Wheel chocks are removed. We'll say the cabin door is closed. Passenger briefing is complete. Everyone sit down and shut up. Okay. Let's see here. Passenger briefing is complete. Seatbelts, pedals, adjust secure. Exterior lights is required. That's where I should be putting on the beacon. ICAS checked. FMS is checked and set, and climate control is off. The before start checklist is complete. Are we cleared to start engine 1? And wow, my frame rate is just the pits when I look in that direction. I look back towards the terminal. There's just too much detail at the terminal. Starting engine 1. We'll get rid of these beeping noises momentarily here. I mean, it is good scenery. Don't get me wrong. Like, it is really good looking scenery. I mean, it's a little bit of a weird thing where the doors are. That's a huge step up into the doors, but overall, really looks good. Only if you get like super close and start nitpicking all the details, you're going to notice things like that. There we go. Got rid of that stupid alarming. That engine cooled off really quickly. It's minus 10 already. There's no way an engine would cool to minus 10 in like 5 minutes either. Alright. So we got a good start on number 1. Start engine 2. Now you do have the capability of using a GPU in this aircraft. On that mod set page that I showed you earlier, where you set up this, have the settings for this mod, you can turn on a GPU if you want to use one. Run. See if we go to index page 2 mod settings. So you can do all sorts of stuff. You can change the cabin lighting, you can have external power, you can link your Navigraph, and you can even link your SimBrief so that you can load flight plans directly from SimBrief. Although I haven't actually done that successfully yet because I don't mind putting them in because it's part of the fun of having this FMS. You can actually do it, but I assume it's done through the data link menu. It says there are 2 pages of the data link menu, but it's not going to go to another page. I honestly don't know. Supposedly, though, we should be able to import our flight plan. Anyways, we got a second good start. Alright, let's go ahead and go avionics on again. There we are. And actually, I guess we should call this guy here. Just gonna pull open a notepad just to write stuff down. I'm planning 05. Normally, East Flow, Toronto almost always lands 05 now. They haven't really gone back to dual operations. It's just dedicated operations all the time. Okay, let's see here. Where's my... I just opened it up there. Ottawa Tower, hello again. Citation, Golf Charlie, Sierra Charlie, IFR Toronto.
Charlie, Sierra Charlie, Ottawa Tower, rebonjour. You're clear to Toronto via the Ottawa 4 departure, flight plan route. Depart running 25, squawk 0330.
Golf Charlie, Sierra Charlie is cleared to Toronto via the Ottawa 4 departure and the flight plan route departure runway 25, squawk code 0330.
Sierra Charlie, read back as correct. Information Golf, calling you back ready for taxi.
Merci. Alright, Information Golf is the one we had from before, so we got to get 0330 on the transponder now. Should have put that to standby when we're sitting on the ground. And I don't know how to get rid of the stupid check alt cell message. It just does not seem to want to work. If I move this... Nope, doesn't change anything. Anyways, 90% sure it's 5,000 here in Ottawa without looking, but let's just look it up. Do a quick little departure briefing. I probably should have done this before I started the engines, but hey, virtual fuel is free, which is more than can be said at the gas pumps right now for the real stuff.
Air Canada 1013, ready for taxi, runway 25 with Golf.
1013, runway 25, altimeter is 3047, taxi, record discretion, Bravo, hold short.
Alright, so it's a really quick taxi out again here in Ottawa. The runway's right over there. Just taxi Bravo to get to runway 25. And the SID
Ottawa
is
Tower, Transat 534, ready for taxi.
Ottawa 4 departure off of runway 25. Climb heading 251 is assigned for vectors and jet aircraft maintain 5,000. So yeah, so we got to get 251 and 5,000.
5, altimeter 3047, taxi ramp at your discretion, Bravo, hold short 25.
Roger,
5,000 heading 251.
Bravo, hold short 25. We'll keep an eye out for the baby bus, Transat 534.
Oh, the baby bus.
Whiskey Delta Bravo, caution, there's a traffic A320 Neo that will pass behind you.
Alright, I'm not sure why the FMS does not look like it quite knows where it should be, but I'm hoping once we get airborne. Anyways, we're not using it initially for the first phase. So terrain around Ottawa is 3,000 feet.
Bravo,
Weather is
caution,
beautiful VMC and operational. I didn't see any NOTAMs or MELs that affect our performance.
We'll keep an eye out for that.
What we could do is we can do this performance takeoff. We could do wet numbers just because it's a bit snowy out there, and send the wet numbers there. And we got V1 of 90, 190, V1 of 95, VR of 99, V2 of 113, and VT of 140. And I think I got everything set up. The flight stream Yeah, it's in the taxi out phase. I think we got everything. Before taxi, avionics switch is on. Climate selector is normal. Passenger light safety buttons are on. Trims. Ooh, definitely not set there. Definitely needs more nose down trim. Alright, trims checked and set. Flight controls pretty incorrect. Yep. Speed brake and ground spoilers checked that are closed. Flaps.
Whiskey Delta Bravo,
15
you're clear of the
checked
traffic
and
cone.
set.
Roger, Whiskey Delta.
Hydraulic pressure checked. Engine only anti-ice. Just given the amount of contamination on the taxiways and runways here, we'll put on the engine only anti-ice. Takeoff data is confirmed and set. Avionics are checked and set. We got heading 251, 5,000 feet. We'll get the go-around bars up there. Autopilot is checked. Altimeters 3046 set and checked, and pressurization is verify set. ICAS is checked. Aft divider door is open. The before taxi checklist is complete. This time we'll take off right behind you. Unfortunately, we won't keep up in cruise, but what are you going to do? Oh, she's really killing the frame rate in that direction. Alright, taxi light on. Auto Tower Golf Charlie Sierra Charlie is at SO with Golf Ready Taxi.
Charlie Sierra Charlie, runway 25, altimeter is 3047, taxi via Golf, and hold short of Bravo for now.
Okay, we'll come out Golf and hold short of Bravo Golf Sierra Charlie Sierra Charlie.
Charlie Sierra Charlie, actually, if it makes it easier for you, you can just hold short of Bravo for now.
We already turned the other way now, so no problem. Golf short of Bravo Charlie Sierra Charlie.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
And Charlie, Sierra Charlie, there's a traffic AT20 Neo that's going to cross right to left on taxiway Bravo. You can follow behind the traffic.
Okay, follow behind the trans at Charlie Sierra Charlie. Alright, I did see him coming. Just turn on to Bravo here. Taxi light off. Oh, there he is, right there. Perfect. Thank you, AIG, for these beautiful traffic models, because that looks really good. Alright, taxi lights back on.
Order advisory on takeoff, runway 25, clear for takeoff, Air Canada 1013. Thanks for read on this morning. Take care. Appreciate it.
Thanks for traffic as well, Getty. Check.
Nabs brings the traffic.
Yes, we do. Transat 534 behind the lining up A320. You can line up and wait 325.
Line up and wait after departing Air Canada, Transat 534.
I don't bring much traffic, but I still thought it was funny when that guy in Chicago was like, "Is there a party in Wichita?" It's only like 3 airplanes heading to Wichita, but I guess that's 3 more than anybody normally sees. Oh, that was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Alright, no pressure, but I'm watching. Feels like a real busy airport here with 3 airplanes visible, or 2 airplanes visible outside my window at the same time. Let's get that. Park and brake. And away you go. This takeoff's gonna be really brutal. Frame rate's gonna drop to 0 until we get past the terminal. Alright. VATSIM velocity is still not perfect. You do see some kind of clicking and chunkiness here and there, but I mean it's much better than it was. It's a huge step up from where it was. Alright, let's just do before takeoff checklist. Ice protection systems checked. Rudder bias system checked. Seats upright and outboard. Flaps checked. 15 then set. Speed brakes are 0. Trims 3 set for takeoff. Crew briefing is complete. TCAS is TARA. Radar is as required. Door button is pushed.
Winds are 0.
Battery amps are verified. And ice protection system is...
Copy, winds calm, clear for takeoff. Runway
again, as required.
25,
Pedal statics are on.
534.
Exterior lights will get as we line up, and ICAS checked.
Ottawa Tower, Whiskey Delta Bravo, ready for taxi.
Delta Bravo, 25, altimeter 3047, taxi, ramp your discretion, Bravo, hold short, 25.
At my discretion, Bravo, hold short 25, Whiskey Delta Bravo.
Charlie Sierra Charlie, lap and wait, 25.
Line up only runway 25, Charlie Sierra Charlie. Alright, clear on the left, and we just got the departing Transat on the right. Strobes on only for now. Yeah, this takeoff's going to be really kind of chunky with that frame rate. I love this Ottawa scenery because it looks really good, but boy, it is hard on the frames. Just that terminal itself is what does it. Highly, highly detailed model, but not well performance optimized unless you have like a super high-end rig. Just gonna get that control column back there.
Charlie Sierra Charlie, Unicom airborne, wind is calm, cleared for takeoff, runway 25.
Unicom in the air, cleared to go off runway 25, Charlie Sierra Charlie, merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, trafic, Rob, salut.
Alright, here we go. Landing lights are on. Takeoff full thrust. Airspeed's alive. It does not take long to reach takeoff thrust in this thing here. Oh.
Don't
Relax.
sink.
Thank you.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
The GPWS in this
Don't
sim
sink.
does not like multiple
Don't
flights. It doesn't ever reset after one flight. Alright, there's 1300, climb power set. And flap 0. And let's go ahead and go heading, flight level change mode, yaw damper, and autopilot on. Let's go speed 210 initially here. Alright, we're going to go up to 13,000 because that's the top of the Ottawa terminal. So that's normally what you would get as kind of a first altitude unless there's some kind of traffic in your way. 13,000. Unfortunately, I don't get to see you guys on TCAS because this thing does not have a working TCAS yet. Alright, and so I'm going to go direct to gear, execute, put myself in nav mode. Now navving off to 2 gear. Now it seems to be organized, but yeah. I've noticed that about the sim in the GPWS in this sim is that the default GPWS, if you do a second flight, it doesn't recognize that the flight's reset, so as soon as you're airborne, it thinks you're sinking again after you've taken off. Because you're so low to the ground after supposedly being higher. I guess we gotta...
Whiskey Delta Bravo, Unicom airborne, no turns below 3,000 feet, cleared for takeoff for 25, coming back on the farm.
There's 22.8. Alright, and the after takeoff climb check, landing gear is up, flaps 0. Throttles are climb. Yaw damper is on. Autopilot is on. Ice protection system. Yeah, we got a little bit of ice out there, or a little bit of cloud out there, so we'll go ahead and leave it on. We'll do the wing engine anti-ice at this point. Passenger signs button, we'll hit at 10,000 feet. Landing light button, we'll also hit at 10,000 feet. Pressurization checked, and altimeters 3046 is set for now. And away we go. I'm going to have to rely on VATSPY to kind of tell me where you are because, like I said, like I can't... okay, here comes 250. I don't have any TCAS internal to this airplane yet, unfortunately. I don't believe, or do I? Maybe I do. Anyways, let's set the higher altitude before we level off of 340. And we are just like, the thing about this is it's like a rocket ship. Kind of loses its climb power at the higher altitudes, but boy, for the first like 1,000, 2,000 feet here, she's just a rocket ship. Lots to do very quickly. All right. Let's get the speed up to 290 for a good climb speed here. And away we go. Off towards Toronto. Alright, we're through 10,000. Let's take the seatbelts off. Let's take the landing lights off. And a nice day out there. Yeah, I wonder if the TCAS works. Let's see how far ahead of me you are. You're not that far. Transat was also... No, they're going to Puerto Vallarta, but they're just departing the same route. I don't see them, but it could be above the TCAS as well. So I honestly don't know how to set up the TCAS, but let's see here. If I can figure it out really quick, because this working title, it's a lot of fun. What did I just do? Somehow I changed my nav source, that's why. Can't change the traffic that way. Refs menu. Oh, you can go directly into it there. Ah, neat. Neat, neat, neat. Slowly learning all sorts of stuff with this this aircraft. All right. Thanks to traffic Rob. Forgot to mention you aren't mode C. I should be now. I should be. Yeah, I was not mode C initially. I forgot. It's not in my checklist, which is a lousy excuse, but it's not, and I kind of wish it was. Oh, I think I see Transat out there now. We are out climbing everybody here with this citation. She's just a little screaming rocket ship. Not super fast in cruise, but boy, just screams up to the cruise altitude really quick. 12.7 ahead, so 16,012. Yeah, so I think it's... yeah, I don't know if this actually works or not. I don't think it does yet. I think it's on the list. It's in the documentation. I'm not going to read the documentation in front of you guys. I have sort of perused it a little bit. I'm definitely not intimately familiar with this aircraft. I'm not intimately familiar with the software yet, but I'm enjoying it. She's a fun little airplane. Much quicker to kind of get going than an airliner, which is kind of nice, but it still has a full-featured FMS pretty much here. Like almost everything you need in an FMS is here, which is nice. So there's transition set standard, and this standard button doesn't work, so it automatically sets both. And away we go, off to Toronto, where we have, as I understand it, no ATC yet. Maybe we'll get some. Not going to keep my fingers crossed, but it is a busy morning in Toronto. There's about 5 airplanes on the ground. One guy just took off, so maybe we'll get some ATC. I will hold out hope that maybe it'll happen. But it feels like this airplane just goes really fast. But maybe it's also because it's just so small, but boy, it just goes fast. So let's do this really quickly because it's not going to take us very long to get to Toronto, and let's get some weather without even looking at my vPilot window. Let's send it again because then it'll come back with the most recent METAR 1400 Zulu. Do I have a clock in this bloody airplane? There's got to be a clock somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Bottom right corner. There it is. 1511. So it's a little out of date. But anyways. Winds 110 at 12 miles. Scattered at 8,000. Broken 18,000. Broken 25,000. 0 degrees -4. 3035. So I'm going to set that on the standby already. Oh, I can't do it because it's in standard mode. Ah, poop. 3035 at 0 degrees. So let's go ahead and just do that. .3035 at 0 degrees. Just so I have it later to look at. That's all I really want. Even in this airplane, not going to be a long flight to get to Toronto, that's for sure. So what can we talk about? Obviously, there's a little bit of there's a lot of news in the world right now. There's a little bit of simming news, and if I can just take a moment to diatribe on it, because I don't want to spend a lot of my time talking about world events, because that's what I've tried to do in these streams. Is I've tried to avoid them. Not to ignore them, but more to provide an escape from them for people watching these streams. But the one thing I will say, given the situation that's unfolded in the last week in Europe, is I find it shocking on the one hand, and yet not completely unsurprising on the other. I'll just say this, that I completely side with the people of Ukraine who are suffering in just an unfathomable way at the hands of an unprovoked invasion by a borderline dictator at this point, in a supposedly it's a somewhat supposedly free country, although I think that is kind of stretching the definition of a free country. But yeah, again, I don't blame the majority of the Russian people. Vladimir Putin has managed to insert himself into the leadership in such a way that he is almost untouchable at this point, in terms of trying to be removed in a democratic method, which is very unfortunate, because I do believe that the vast majority of Russian people don't agree with his decisions, but he has basically made himself default dictator for life in Russia, and I'm not trying to suggest it, but I think very little short of his actual assassination will probably remove him from power at this point. I support people of Ukraine, and I support the actions, the sanctions that most of the Western governments have imposed. I think it's about the hardest. It's about the most we can do without actually getting involved in a military operation. And while I think that it may be necessary in the long run, it's not something that I think is a good idea. But maybe it is necessary in the long run. I think at the end of the day, people of Ukraine are defending the entire planet. They are defending the ideals of democracy and freedom of self-determination for the entire planet, and it's unfortunate that they are doing it alone. The Western nations have done pretty much everything they can short of actually putting troops into Ukraine, and I understand the hesitation to do so. I don't think that Russia should go unopposed by any means, but at the same time, given Russia's vast nuclear arsenal and certainly their large military, the last thing we need to do is basically repeat what we learned in the 1940s, which is, of course, when you have all these superpowers competing and you know, through treaties and whatnot, being dragged into drag kicking and screaming into warfare, you end up with a war that engulfs the entire world for years. And I don't think that's what anybody wants, of course. I think the Western allies are going to do their best to try and avoid that situation, only because we are trying to learn from the past. We don't want dictators to take over sovereign nations, but at the same time, we don't want to devolve into 4, 5, 6 years of just non-stop war that kills millions of people. And that was before the nuclear age. Now in the nuclear age, of course, we have a much worse potential outcome if people take the ultimate choice. So I think that our leaders have done, given this crisis, they have done about the best that can probably be done. The unfortunate thing is that the West basically tacitly approved this invasion 8 years ago, when they did almost nothing to stop Russia from annexing Crimea from Ukraine. So I think that the whole West is to blame for this. The one thing I will say is that this has brought out a alliance that has been and a spirit, an element of cooperation that has been very hard to find for the last 20, 30 years. Unanimous voice. So yeah, the impact on the impact on the Russian people as a whole, and it's unfortunate that the vast majority of sanctions will not work on the Russian leadership class, but will more impact the working class, which is very unfortunate. But it's probably the only way that there's going to be potentially a regime change in Russia is if it comes from the bottom up, because trying to impose, you know, the irony is that, of course, if the West steps in and tries to, you know, assassinate Vladimir Putin and tries to remove him through force, do we become any better than he is? You know, at the end of the day, are we then becoming one country imposing its will upon another? And I think the biggest thing that the West can do is try to hopefully remove the barriers to democracy in Russia and let the people of Russia make their own choices about how they want their country to run, how they want their country led. And that's the thing, is the choice. The problem is the choice has been pretty much removed from them by the way the elections are managed, the state media is managed, and everything else now. That the choice there is an illusion that needs to be restored. But yeah, it's a tricky situation to be in, unfortunately for all of us. And it's back to my original point, which is that I completely 100% support the people of Ukraine. I have to say that they are some of the gutsiest people on the planet. To stand up to Russian tanks and warships with little more than curse words, and that's pretty much all they have going for them, and their own perseverance. They are doing more for democracy than anybody else in the West has done for a generation. So I hope that they can find the support they need. I hope that they can fight back for as long as possible, because they are really fighting a proxy fight for the ideals of a free, self-deterministic society around the world, which I believe in. Anyways, he reached top of climb and looked top of descent. Yeah, the idea that the way it's impacting the aviation industry, especially the destruction of the AN-225, which is just so disheartening. But the Russians just seem to be just destroying anything and everything in their sight. The fact that they shelled and set fire to a nuclear power plant, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Who looked at that and said, that seems like a good idea? Let's blow up the nuclear power plant that is currently producing power, that is full of nuclear fuel right now. Let's just shell that, shall we? Who gave the order for that, and who followed through on that order? It just boggles my mind. Like, did we not learn nothing from Chernobyl, 50 miles away? You know, I mean, mind you, that was 20-something years ago now. That was more than 20 years ago. That was 35 years ago. That was a long time ago. But do we not learn nothing from that about the dangers of nuclear power and how we have to respect it, regardless of whether we're trying to take over another country? Just what a stupid maneuver. Anywho, you know, at the end of the day, anything that happens there will affect the entire planet. Chernobyl affected the entire planet. There was nuclear fallout higher in Europe, of course, but the whole planet. And you can't escape that. So, anyways, blows my mind. I'm going to switch to Mach number here, 7.4. See if we can get this climb. And yeah, top of descent's coming up pretty quick, so let's get this going here. Really, at the end of the day, I think we have the approach numbers already set for runway 05. It will auto-tune for us, so let's just send those numbers, 110 and 103. It is going to auto-tune for us when we get there. What we really need to do is set up our approach minimums and make sure that all of our altitude restrictions are in there. Yeah, I've tried not to rant too much about current events through these streams, just because it's you know, I think it's a bit of an escape for everybody, but at the same time, cannot ignore the reality of war in Europe for the first, like a major war in Europe for the first time in 50, 60, 70 years. It just blows my mind. Amoeba 605. All right, I'm gonna try and leave that alone for now, but get on with what we're doing here, because we got lots to do to get set up. There's the 10-9 pages, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so first of all, the minimums for this, ILS 05, it is 767, I think? 764, I was close. So 764, so now that I figured out that the refs menu exists here, .770 set. go. We're almost at the 340. I should have just picked 30. Maybe I'll just revise it to 32 even. Because yeah, the first like 20,000 feet, this thing climbs like a rocket ship. But then as you get to 290, you transition to Mach 7.4, it starts to, climb rate really starts to fall off. So we'll put the level off as 32. And it's going to be pretty much our top of descent point. We're going to level off. Let's make sure that the rest of our waypoints are here in our flight plan. So we got Tadmo, Vibli, Amoeba, Seacop. Alright, so this is the Amoeba 6 arrival for runway 05. RNF 1 DDI GNSS, safe altitude 100 miles, 49, jet aircraft only, non-GNSS aircraft. It's not us. And continuous descent operations. So we're just passing over Tadmo. We're going to go to Vibli, Amoeba, Seacop 250 between 17 and 15. The speed restriction's not in there because we don't have an auto throttle, but we do have 15 and 17 BISDA, and then it's Pilpo 210 8000. If I can find the next button. There it is, Pilpo at 8,000. Airbus, CLAP, Dunop, Litro, Durley. That's all there. And then we're going to get vectored around for the ILS to runway 05. In reality, it's probably going to be a self-vector. 11-1, effective on the 7th October 2021, LOC ITX 1097. And it should tune automatically when we get in there, or we can just tune it now, 1097. NAV1 and NAV2. Glide slope at Kerpu 2020, and the ILSDA, as we said, is 764, so we've got 770 barrels set. Airport elevation is 564, the MSA is 3,100 feet around Toronto, the missed approach is 1,100 feet, heading 057, then the left climbing turn to 3,000, outbound on the on the Toronto 1-3 radial to the Aptec intersection and hold. Let's see if I have that in there. I'm not sure if this is programmed in here or not. No, it's not. Missed approach is not programmed in. That's fine. We'll fly it by hand. Radars required. Safe altitude 100 miles, 49. Simultaneous approach is authorized with 6 left or 6 right. And local reliable only with a 10-degree center line. Procedure turn not authorized. And let's see here. 3-degree glide slope. Pappy's left. ALSF2 lighting system. And that's about it. Once we land on 05, we're going to go park at the midfield. So it's going to be right turn off at Hotel 3, and then we're going to go down Echo to get to the Sky Service ramp midfield. And that's what we're going to do for the day. It's working out pretty nicely. We should be there just in time for you to finish and head out, and same with me. I've got to start setting up for the rest of my day, so yeah, this will work out quite nicely. And yeah, we pretty much level off for about 8 miles. Even 32,000 was a little bit too high for this flight. Climbs like crazy for the first part, and then yeah, really kind of all right, there's level, so we'll get cruise power in there. Yeah, what a busy leg. But couple good pieces of news in the flight sim world, at least, and one of them, of course, is that FlyTampa did release a Toronto scenery, as we're going to see in a little bit. It's absolutely beautiful. I did an ATC stream earlier this week, and I just sort of looked around at it while I was streaming ATC, and it was just, it looks exactly like what you'd expect from FlyTampa. It looks really, really good. I'm very, very happy with it, very impressed with it, and we've got Path already armed here. I'm very excited to fly it some more. So it's nice to have Toronto back to go to, and yeah, it's a very good scenery, very well priced. I think it's $18 US, which for FlyTampa is a fantastic price. That's about as good a price as I think I've ever seen FlyTampa put out there. So that's really well priced, very worthwhile. The performance is fantastic. I was able to sustain easily 30 to 40 frames at all times in Toronto, which I was never able to do with the P3D version. The P3D version was always stalling my computer down to 15, 12, sometimes less than 10 frames per second. Trying to land in Toronto in that P3D version of FlyTampa just was almost unfeasible. It was so bad. So I gotta say, the performance is really good, but it still looks great. They've got interior modeling in the terminal. It's not super detailed. I have found a few errors as I've looked around it, because I know the airport so well, but it is overall, it captures the look and feel of Toronto extremely well. The errors are few, they're small, they're easy to overlook. Just a fantastic scenery overall, well priced. I do have to wonder if they did get rushed into the market a little bit. just because Reg Scenery released their Toronto and they saw that and said, well, you know, we do have our Toronto, it's almost done. You know, if we don't release it soon, then people are probably going to buy that scenery just because they want to have Toronto in their sim. I mean, I was feeling that way. I was feeling like if FlyTampa does not make an announcement soon and does not release their scenery soon, I'm going to probably go with the Reg Scenery just because I wanted to have Toronto. I missed it so much. Such a key airport to me. As a Canadian flying the sim in Canada, to not have that airport available to me was just crazy. So yeah, I was definitely thinking about buying the Red Scenery. As soon as they came out with their Facebook post and said we're releasing it in the next couple of days, I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to save my money because I know FlyTampa produces good quality scenery. And it's not that I don't like supporting new developers. I do. I think it's always good to get new developers in the sim, but it is a little frustrating when they're creating the same old airports. And everybody knew FlyTampa was working on Toronto for some time now. It's not news. FlyTampa is not the best at keeping people kind of updated on how projects are moving through their pipeline, but they did acknowledge it several times in the last 2 years that yes, Toronto is on our list. We are working on it. It's going to take some time because it's a complicated airport. It's a new sim. It's a new product, but they were working on it. So very challenging. Very challenging for them to try and get it out there, and I'm just disappointed that someone else tried to sort of scoop them on it. And I think that Reg Scenery probably made very little money at the end of the day because FlyTampa was just about ready to release. I imagine they probably didn't have it quite the way they wanted it. I have a feeling there's probably, it looks really good, but I have a feeling there's probably a few things they know are incomplete, are not done properly, that they wanted to finish off, and they sort of released a not totally complete product. Definitely a very usable, complete enough product, but there will be updates coming, I'm sure, that will improve it a little bit. The one thing I noticed at the south side, the South Sky Service hangar at Whiskey and Yankee, the ramp there doesn't exist. The hangar is not particularly, it's just kind of a generic building right now, so I have a feeling like that's something that they were not able to find information on. They're trying to find information on it, and in the meantime, they just sort of released it in an incomplete state. But as long as you've got the FlyTampa installer on your computer, you should be able to install updates with no problem. And I'm sure there will be updates. FlyTampa does not let their scenery sit idle, but they will push updates when there are corrections and things like that. So that's good. The other bit of news that I want to talk about, because it's got me excited again here. I'm just going to do just a couple of, again, gratuitous outside shots here of this nice citation. Just so I have something to kind of work with for my title cards and whatnot. There we go. But the other fun piece of information, oop, that's not what I meant to do, sorry. That's what I meant to do. That came out this week is the news that the Mad Dog is really kind of pushing into an advanced beta, which is fantastic again to see. The Leonardo's Mad Dog was definitely one of the best airplanes available in the P3D world. This definitely was up there in the top, probably top 5. And again, they are just about ready to release their Mad Dog now for MSFS. It's in an advanced beta phase. It sounds like they've pretty much got almost all the features they had in the P3D version. Will be ready close to, if not at the launch of the MSFS version. So it sounds like all the developers have finally reached a point where the sim SDKs and APIs are all advanced enough, and Asobo is listening hard enough that they are able to release these advanced airliners. So it's a really, really good. It was a really, really good airplane in P3D. Lots of fun, much like the 737, a very manual airplane. A lot of switch flipping and button pressing to try and get it going. But what a great airplane in that sim. Tons of fun to fly. Very, very great sense of accomplishment when you can get it done. You know, very useful FMS, and then they added all sorts of great things to it. So they had one of the most advanced icing simulations available. Like you could get ice on the wings and on the engines, that it would impede the aircraft's performance. Probably the most fun part of flying the Mad Dog, and the part that I'm waiting to find out more about because it's been noticeably omitted from any publication or information about this version, is what is the status of multiplayer. And I feel like the reason it's been omitted is because the way Asobo has the sim set up now, and it's such a walled garden now as opposed to P3D, which previous iterations have been much more kind of open, and developers have been able to pretty much get in and mess with almost anything in the sim. Asobo, it feels like they've created a very walled garden around a lot of the features of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is making it very hard for third-party developers to create software, especially that interfaces with anything outside of the sim. So Navigraph, they know that every time you start the sim, you have to re-log in Navigraph charts. They don't like that, but that's the way the sim is built. It doesn't retain information about your login information from one session to the next. I have a feeling multiplayer is much the same way. Having your sim communicate and send information out across the internet is probably seen as a security risk, which I understand that, but
Toronto
multiplayer
Canada 1013,
is huge.
15,000 feet, passing SecOp on the Amita 6, arrival expecting runway 5.
Yeah, I'm still only about 10 miles behind you, if you just pass Seek up there. Oh yeah, there you are. I see your light flashing right there in the distance. Yeah, so I have a feeling like that's been a challenge for the developers. Aerosoft has not even touched it yet with their CRJ. Not that they did it in the CRJ, but they did have a working multiplayer in their Airbus series in P3D, and it was one of the better ones. It worked pretty well. Occasionally you get like a desync, the aircraft would, the multiplayer would disconnect, and you would never get any notice about it. So you'd be like, why is my engine suddenly throttling back? Oh, because I'm no longer relying on that other aircraft to feed information to my engine. So, yeah. But that was definitely one of the most fun things. It's one of the biggest things that's missing from Microsoft Flight Simulator is shared flight deck multiplayer. You can do multiplayer outside with other aircraft, and it's tons of fun. VATSIM works. Bush trips, multiplayer, tons of fun. I did the Australian bush trip a week or two ago in the multiplayer, and my gosh, what fun that was! It was absolutely just so much fun. We were just cruising around, and we even had float planes. So we even at one leg we landed on the water just for the fun of it. 30-35. Oops, wrong thing there. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to do this. We went and landed on the water as a group. We all like water taxied up to each other. We're just sort of sitting there looking at each other, taking screenshots and whatnot. But tons of fun. The multiplayer works really quite well. It's a little frustrating sometimes to get it going. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to kind of connect everybody within the network and get everybody visible. But once you get everybody visible, it generally works. It generally works again until everybody disconnects. So once you get everybody on the same server and into the same shared group flight, it works, and it's tons of fun. Tons of fun to do those bush flights with other people. You're looking out the window, you're watching the other planes, you're all trying to spot these landmarks and see who gets to the airport first. It was me and 3 other controllers, so we were just goofing off. We got to one airport where it was 2 crossing runways, pretty much crossed at 9 degrees. So what did the 4 of us do? We decided to all land on a different runway. Tried to time it so we all landed simultaneously, head to head on the 4 different runways, and tried to meet at the runway intersection. It didn't work very well, but it was just fun to try. And that's the kind of stuff you can do. Did I miss the speed restriction at CCOP? I did, didn't I? It was supposed to be 250 knots at CCOP, wasn't it? Shoot. All right, I'll get a little speed break out here and slow us down a little bit. But yeah, tons of fun. So when it does work, the multiplayer works really well. But shared flight deck, like when you're flying, like the Citation's not a terribly crazy airplane, but when you're flying like an airliner, it is really useful to have somebody with you in the flight deck, doing some of the work with you. Maybe they're throwing the flaps out while you're flying. You're programming they're programming the FMS while you're manipulating the guidance panel. Like just a team effort. Like in the real world, it's a team effort because it really does require 2 people. Not all the time. A lot of time it is quite quiet and you can kind of get by with just one person. But sometimes you need 2 people to be able to fly. To be able to fly an airplane that complex. So I am disappointed that. Not totally surprised, but disappointed that Leonardo has not said anything about multiplayer, but I have a feeling like it's just not technically feasible at this point, but I certainly hope it's on everybody's radar because that Mad Dog was fun to fly multiplayer. I really enjoyed flying it with my friends, and I hope that that kind of capability is going to come to some of the airplanes in Microsoft Flight Simulator sooner rather than later. It's a fantastic sim from a visual perspective. Technically, there's still challenges with it. All right, coming up to 12,000. Let's go ahead and get 8,000 in there for the Pilpo altitude. All right, there's 8,000 feet set, and let's go ahead and do the descent check. Pressurization verified. I still don't know how to do that. Ice protection system. Yeah, we got it all on because we got some clouds in front of us here. Visible moisture. Altimeters 3035 is set and cross-checked, and the exterior lights. We're not to 10,000 yet, but we're getting close. do it in a moment here. So let's do the approach check. Yeah, let's get the approach. Let's get the landing lights. Let's get the seatbelts on. Landing data
Your attention, please.
is confirmed. We've got 770 baro, and we've got the
Please fasten your seatbelt.
VREF speed set.
At this time.
Crew briefing is complete. Avionics are set for this arrival. Minimums are set, 770 baro. Fuel transfer selector is off. Exterior lights are as required. The ice protection system is, again, we've got the wing engine and the pedostatic, of course. Flaps eventually will be 15. Passenger briefing is complete. Seats are upright and outboard. Seat belts adjusted and secured. Passenger safety buttons are on, and the pressurization, again, I don't know how to check that, so we're just going to have to let it be. And I'll notice that the screen's looking a little bright. The dimming does work nicely on the screens here. I can turn the screen right down if we fly at night or into dark clouds or whatever. It's a good, impressive little model here. So PILPO is supposed to be 210. Gotta make sure I don't run over you. I think you're just a little bit ahead of me still. Yeah, you're still keeping about 10 miles ahead of me, so that's good. What a perfectly timed pair of flights. The next flights are going to be long, so we'll have lots of time to chat about stuff. These flights are nice and short, but we get to, again, to enjoy some great scenery here in Toronto. Think about how well you plan this to fit the schedule. Yeah, I know. I was going to try and do like Sault Ste. Marie or something for the second leg. Would have been probably a little bit too long. With both of our schedules for today, this is actually going to work out just perfectly. And PILPO's coming up. Let's go idle. Get 210 knots. Yeah, it's going to work out very well. But we'll have to find some time to do those longer legs because I was contemplating skipping some legs. So I was contemplating skipping from Toronto right to Kelowna because the next really good scenery in Canada really is, I think, Kelowna. There's not too much in between. There's a few good freewares. There was one I saw that actually looked really kind of fun. Lethbridge, Alberta. There's a freeware Lethbridge that actually looked really quite well done with some custom models. So might check that one out as a next possibility. But where's Toronto? Oh, there it is right there. I love how the snow is just sort of starting to melt, so it's not like everything is totally snow covered. Here's 210 knots for PILPO. Perfect. That one worked out just right. But yeah, we're going to have to set aside a much longer time. Yeah, if you spent the money on Toronto, you might as well use as much as you can for sure. So I would like to try and get a flight out of Toronto without making it excessive. So there you are. I see you again, flashing lights ahead of us there in the distance. Yeah, I haven't made up my mind what I want to do for the next leg. I want to end up with Kelowna and Vancouver as the final leg because, again, really, really nice scenery. I don't know what to do kind of in the interim, though. I'm a little bit of a loss. All right, we could probably do 6,000 for now. So there's 6,000 feet. We're back into VPath again. But yeah, I don't know what to do for the next leg. I'm a little bit disappointed. There's not anything else really in the middle. Winnipeg. I do have Sault Ste. Marie and I have Winnipeg, so I was thinking take the CRJ to Sault Ste. Marie to Winnipeg. That'll probably be about a 3-hour stream, I would think. 3 to 4 hour stream, so that'd be about as much as I want to do. Then from Winnipeg, like one straight shot over to Kelowna maybe, or maybe, like I said, Winnipeg over to like Lethbridge, which has a really nice looking freeware scenery. And then from Lethbridge, Kelowna, Vancouver, something along those lines. So probably at least 3 more streams before this cross-country tour is done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into VS because the trouble with this VNAV planning is it's planning me to go all the way to Durley and be at Durley at 3,000 feet. That's way too late. So let's plan. Let's get rid of VNAV, take away VNAV. VS, there we go. You have to hit the VNAV button to get it out of VNAV mode. All right, so there's VS minus 1,000. Let's go ahead and set 4,000 for now. I'm going to keep an eye on you so I can see where you turn base. Because you're quite a bit lower than I am, so that's good though. You'll be ready to turn base soon. There goes somebody departing Toronto there. Toronto traffic citation, Golf Charlie Sierra Charlie is on a left downwind runway 05. She's a little bit of a cloudy day here. But even so, like, it's neat the way the light plays. Like over there, it definitely looks darker on the ground than it does over here. Just does some really nifty lighting effects in this sim. So you'll probably just go out to pretty much C-lap if you're not there already, and if you turn base around C-lap, especially if you're at 4,000, you'll be fine. Turn base at C-lap, go down to 3, you'll be fine. It's almost like I know the altitudes that work in this on these approaches.
Toronto traffic, Air Canada 1013, we're turning left base here to intercept the ILS 5 localized for Toronto traffic. Air Canada 141.
Winter is starting to recede in the sim. Oh, it'll be so nice to fly over green terrain again. I'm a little bit high, but I'm not doing too bad. For 4,000, I'm going to hit it just a little after C-lap, that's fine. Yeah, the rule of thumb for controllers is normally we can expect an aircraft to lose about 1,500 feet from the time we turn them on base to final. So if I want you to join final at 3,000 feet, I can turn you base when you're probably hitting 45 if you're far enough along final. So as long as I get to 45 here in the next minute or so, I'll follow you in. It'll work out just fine. I think it's the closest I've managed to stay to you for any of our streams thus far. That was really kind of fun taking off in Ottawa and being able to see you and Transat ahead and having that great scenery right in front of us the whole time. That was really quite fun. Where did you go? There you are. I knew you were going to pop out there in a second. Yeah, I don't think you're going to show up on my TCAS, unfortunately. Alright, I can probably turn base anytime now. Because you should be just about turning final, which would put me about 4 to 5 miles behind you, so let's go ahead and start that base turn.
Toronto traffic, Air Canada 1013, we have the localizer runway 5 at a 10-mile final. Toronto traffic.
Alright, heading is 150, going down to 3,000 feet at 1,000 feet per minute, and let's just activate that DULPA. And can I do an inbound? No, it won't let me do an inbound. That's okay. Just put DULPA anyways because we're not in FMS mode anymore, so it's fine. Yeah, there you go. I think it's going to work out just fine. Yeah, if you paid for the Toronto scenery, you might as well use it. Toronto's a great airport to fly in and out of because there's just tons of airlines, tons of destinations. You know, if you kind of like to simulate real-world flights, lots of variety. And I think there's going to be a little bit of a renaissance of Toronto ATC. Now that FlyTampa Toronto is here and there's lots of people flying Toronto again, I think that's going to trigger the ATC to really come back online again as well. So I hope. We'll see, but I expect that's going to trigger ATC to come back and be a little bit more online, a little bit better service than they have in the past little while, where it's been kind of a little bit quiet a lot of the time for Toronto. Speaking of which, do we have any ATC? No, New York 1 Center is all I see. So, all right, so we got heading is now 120 and loc glide slope is armed. There's loc 1. We'll set 057 for the inbound course. There you go, I see you. Don't have a DME readout, but we are basically. Toronto traffic, citation Charlie Sierra Charlie, 10-mile final, runway 05.
Toronto traffic, Air Canada 1013, 4-mile short final, runway 5. Toronto traffic,
yeah, well timed. Not a problem, we're perfectly spaced. Alright, let's go flaps 15.
Toronto traffic, Jazz 430 overhead. Takeoff reducing speed 210 knots.
And then there's another Jazz coming in behind us here. Wow. There's 3 airplanes inbound, 2 airplanes inbound from the south, 2 airplanes that we were inbound from the east. It's a busy little time in Toronto this morning. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's going to be now, Toronto's going to go back to being a very busy airport. I was going to park at midfield at the 3-bay hangar there, so Sky Service ramp. So whatever terminal you park at, I'll be able to look across the runway hopefully and see you. Alright, there's glide slope. The go-around altitude of 3,000 feet is set. We're keeping a speed of 170 for now. There's the 407. There's the 401. Looking pretty good. Yeah, Toronto is going to be a busy place again now, I think, on VATSIM, which is good. So hopefully that'll lure ATC, and it'll be sort of a, you know, a self-fulfilling hand-in-glove kind of thing. There's one of the inbounds there on the Ling arrival. He's going to start a left turn onto the downwind any second now. All right, here comes Kerpu, so let's go ahead and go gear down. Get the speed back to idle, power back to idle. Let's lose some speed here. 160 knots for that final flap. Let's do before landing checklist. So landing gear is down 3 green, flap 35 to go, speed brake is 0, airspeed we're going to reduce to VREF, and autopilot yaw damper will disengage. So we're just waiting for the speed to get flap 35 here. There's flap 35, we got lots of speed to lose. I see you just touching down. I probably was a little bit late on the slowdown there. And then I lose sight of your lights on the runway. It switches off the lights, I think, after you touch down. Or you clearing the runway. Alright, so it looks like our ref speed we're looking for our approach speed we're looking for 110. So let's get a power setting that's going to keep 110 while we're on the glide slope. There we go. Gear is down and locked. Nothing left to do but land. Toronto traffic, Charlie Sierra Charlie is 2 mile final, runway 05.
Toronto traffic, Canada 1013, clear runway 5 on Hotel 3.
Taxi Hotel.
Hotel, cross runway 15 left, Bravo. Great guys, day guys, take care. Toronto traffic, Jazz 591 is passing Segos 210 knots.
So good to see this scenery. It's so realistic as you're going by it with the 3-dimensional buildings. Realistic textures, disengaging the autopilot. It's all part of one statement. Alright, we're looking a little high on the pappies there, so I'm going to start transitioning onto the pappies. A little high, a little fast.
Minimums.
Landing. Once you hit the brakes in this airplane, she slows down pretty quick. Crosswind today.
Toronto traffic, Canada 1013, clear runway 15.
Gotta remember that I'm not in a jet, so don't flare too high. Whoop. That nose wheel down, get some steering going on in here. Alright. Not exactly aligned with the center line, but just roll down to Hotel 3 here. I see you taxiing in the distance there, just over there. I have to almost add power to get to Hotel 3 in this airplane. I really do not use up a whole lot of runway, but also the second I look away, it's no longer straight. Alright, here's Hotel 3. It's the only high-speed cutoff at this airport, on this runway anyways. And we're going to come to a full stop just so I can do the checklist without getting lost.
Toronto traffic, Jazz 43 Sierra is inbound Danik, turning to intercept the localizer, runway 05 left.
Toronto traffic, Charlie Golf, Charlie Sierra Charlie is clear of runway 05, taxiing Hotel 3 Echo for Sky Service. Alright, after landing checklist, speed brakes are 0, flaps are 0, and pitot static heat, and we can take off the wing and anti-ice, pitot static heat off. Ice protection is off, radars as required, and exterior lights. Strobes off, taxi lights on. And away we go! Alright, and that's it. So here, welcome guys, welcome to FlyTampa Toronto. And just what a beautiful scenery. And compared to the frame rate I get in Ottawa, so much better optimized. You can see the Sky Charter hangar with its distinctive orange stripe over there. Just going to look for a second at where I'm going. It does have a few stutters here and there. It is still a pretty complicated, busy scenery, but it does a better job of maintaining a decent frame rate than the Ottawa one does. So, Ottawa, I think it's a great looking scenery. It needs a little performance optimization. Let's go ahead and just have a look around here. Vista Cargo over there. If I can use my track IR, like the individual, the little letters are up there. Air Canada hangars. It's just fantastic. Should probably pay attention to what I'm doing here, but I can't help it. It's just such good scenery to look at. I've been waiting so long to see this in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and now it feels like the sim is approaching completion. Not that it's ever really complete, but it feels like it's getting to that point where I can say it's a sim I'm very happy to fly. What I need now is a few really good quality airplanes. We have the CRJ. I want to see the 737. I'd love to see a 320 come out, even be a little better than it is right now. And maybe some long haulers.
5 or 06 left.
05 left.
There is no 05 left.
Not the runway.
There is no 05 left. Yeah, that's the one thing that's kind of missing on the short-term horizon is long haulers, wide bodies, 777, 747, 330. That scale of aircraft where you could do long haul overnight flying from North America to Europe or something like that. That's what's missing right now in this sim. And look at this. Look at this. There's even slopes. There is some sloping. Even as I taxi down this runway, notice there's a slope here. There's a slope up to the runway. So there is, it's not, I don't think this scenery is as sloped as it should be, but there is some hills to it, which is great. I mean, you don't realize Toronto is a hilly, bloody airport. But it really is, and sometimes you need a lot of power to get going certain ways. There's a big hump in the middle of 3-3 right about here is about the peak of 3-3 right, kind of right abeam the, right abeam Terminal 3 and the cargo areas here. There's a hump and then it goes downhill again all the way down towards 06 left. It is modeled a little bit. There's a little bit of a hump here up to that runway as well, so it is modeled to some degree. I don't think it's quite as extreme as the real world is. I don't think anybody believes it's really that extreme, but there's a few spots where it's quite steep. Taxing up Alpha from Victor Alpha Mike up towards Alpha Kilo, Alpha Kilo is quite a steep little uphill there. Even Delta to going eastbound up towards Delta Romeo, there's quite a steep little increase there. So there's a lot of fairly steep areas in this airport, and they're starting to be modeled now. FlyTampa's kind of done them a little bit, but I think they could be a little better. I think they could be a little more realistic. But anyways, I'm not going to complain too much because like I said, I'm frankly happy to have this. Now we just need 1 or 2 more really good quality airliners, not just the CRJ, but the 737, I think. And something long haul, 747, 777, 330, something like that. And once we've done all that, I think I will feel like this airport is finally really, truly complete. Or this sim is really, truly complete and is really, truly ready for the big time for the serious simmer. That being said, FlyTampa, thank you. Thank you for having the scenery out here finally. It just so much better than the default. The default was just garbage.
Jazz 591 established runway 05, 10 miles, number 2.
Somewhere here we'll park.
Traffic, Jazz 43 Sierra, 3 miles final.
Alright, and shutdown checklist, so parking brake is set, emergency light switch off, standby instruments, standby flight display switch off, avionics switch off, climate control selector off. Ice protection systems are all off. Throttles are idle. Run, stop button, stop. Exterior lights off. And battery switch off. It's weird that the off position is not off on this. Oh, now it says. Weird. Control lock extension covers, and that's it. So we have made it. I wish I could open the doors because it would just be a little bit symbolic of the fact that we did actually make it. But nevertheless, here we are. Welcome to Toronto. And let's just go and... Can I not use my drone anymore? I locked my drone somehow. I do that every once in a while. I forget what the button is. I think it's C. But I lock my drone into follow mode and then it's useless. Nope, not what I meant to do. Let's just see if we can't do this here. I guess it must be relative to me. This is where it's... There we go. Yeah. Well, what a nice scenery. What a nice view of the scenery there. But what fantastic scenery. Yeah, I find there's a little bit using the external cameras and the drone cameras. They're not as intuitive as they perhaps should be in the way you interface with them. So I find that sometimes very frustrating. But here we are, FlyTampa Toronto. Beautiful scenery. Canada's biggest, busiest airport. Finally has some high quality scenery. Let's see if I can figure out where you parked here. I don't see you. Did you disconnect already? Or am I just blind? Oh, you're Bravo 19. Oh, there you are. I was not looking at Terminal 3 because Air Canada doesn't park at Terminal 3. But nevertheless, there you are. It's a pity that the bridges don't like automatically connect for any aircraft that isn't yours. That'd be also a really neat addition. But you know, look at like even inside the terminal here, like it's obviously very low quality kind of detail inside the terminal. But when you're outside looking in, you can see the fact you can see through the terminal. You can see some seats and some objects in there. It makes it very realistic. AI models in this sim, like really good. Like okay, I can see if I look closely, I can see the tires are a little bit. Not round, they're obviously polygons, but step back like, you know, 100 feet and it looks fantastic, which is how you normally view AI traffic. You usually view it from 100 feet away. It looks fantastic. And I mean, you get close, like you see, like there's a lot of good deckling work going on here. Really kind of captures the airplane nicely, even just for an AI model. You get really close, okay, yeah, you can see it's pixelized and everything, but like I said, you go just 100 feet away and it's a nice, beautiful looking model. The Sheraton looks great again. Absolutely, it does. They've got the airport link train is working once again. So that's really nice. Like they've got a lot of cars in the parking lot here too, like on the roof, at the various parts, at the Air Canada hangar and everywhere else. Lots of cars and everything there. Oh, you know what I'm just realizing too is that this hangar doesn't exist anymore. This one right here in the middle has been demolished. And they have this hangar over here is much bigger because they had to make it bigger to accommodate the 777s and the Dreamliners. So this hangar is much bigger now than it used to be. This is the old hangar. But the new hangar, I guess, is it here? Yeah, I guess it's here. No, it's here. There's a new like grand opening entrance here with the big Air Canada logo. So this hangar actually is out of date as well. So that was the last couple of years they put that up. But like overall, like when you're taxiing around airside, like the airside, like it looks the way it's supposed to, it feels the way it's supposed to, like it looks really good. Like fantastic scenery. It looks really, really good. You know, you get really close to things, there's a little bit of details are not quite as good as they could be. But there's lots of ground clutter. Like I said, like the interiors of the terminals are a little bit simplistic. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being simplistic because at the end of the day, it's about performance too. You need to balance looking good with performance. So if you were to absolutely capture every molecule of this airport, every square foot of this airport in totally photorealistic hyper detail, you'd never be able to fly it. In terms of compromising between performance and detail, FlyTampa has once again absolutely perfectly hit the nail on the head in terms of just getting an absolutely beautiful airport. Still performs really well. A little bit slower than some of the other airports, but still performs very well. But looks really good. And a lot of the updates, like the one update that I noticed is that the over here, the 250 gates, they've got the 250 gates done nicely here now. With glass jetways and everything, so really nice that we have these updates available. It's not perfect, and there are things like this whole thing down here, this whole little wall has been area has been demolished. 260s, this thing doesn't exist anymore now. It's just there's a big storage corral here. I don't know what they're doing in the long term, if they're going to actually build a proper pier here, because like literally over here, this hallway is shipping containers bolted end to end or welded end to end. I don't know how they're connected, but they're bolted end to end, and you're literally walking through shipping containers, and that is the walkway. It's shipping containers. So it feels very temporary, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like they're in a rush to do anything else with this area. It's good enough now that they can have passengers in there. It doesn't look like it doesn't look temporary from the inside, although when you start looking at it closely from the outside, you're like, yeah, this whole thing looks like it could be knocked down in an hour if they really tried. Anywho, yeah. But that's it for me for today, guys. So welcome back to Toronto Pearson in a big way. FlyTampa, thank you so much for releasing this scenery. We have been waiting for it for a very long time. But that's it for the stream for today. I will hopefully get the ATC stream in later this week, and another flight stream. We'll have to work a little harder to schedule this because the next couple legs are going to be long again. I'm going to get back in the CRJ just to cover the distance a little faster than the citation will cover it. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching the stream. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. I hope that you guys pick up the working title CJ4, and I hope you support FlyTampa and pick up this scenery as well, because it's great. In the meantime, everyone stay safe and healthy out there. Pray for peace in this world, because we need this world needs to take a little bit of a change from the direction it's heading in. But in the meantime, take care of each other out there, and I will see you guys all out there on the VATSIM skies really soon.